My name's Lauren Laird. I am 18 years old. 2 years ago, I was diagnosed with obsessive compulsive disorder. Obsessive compulsive disorder can be a lot of things. I define mine as what it specifically means for me, something that's like a subgenre of it that's called obsessive compulsive thoughts. Everyone has a weird thought that pops into their head once in a while and they're like, oh, I'll just brush it off, you know? But when you have OCD, you obsess over that thought and you can convince yourself that you are a certain way when you're not. So the best way I can describe it is there's a famous case of someone who also had obsessive compulsive thoughts.
I started getting just inundated with violent thoughts. What if I were to brutally stab someone or shoot someone or harm my wife?
Now, S had never had violent thoughts like this before, and they were very disturbing. In particular, this thought about harming his new wife.
Put my hands over my eyes and my head and was just trying to get rid of the thoughts. But the more I tried to get rid of them, the more and more they'd come back. What if you were to murder your wife? Murder your wife. Murder your wife.
And so he went to sleep. But in the morning when he woke up, the thoughts were still there. In fact, over the next weeks and months, they just grew.
So when he went to therapy, he was telling his therapist about this, and his therapist just said, the fact that you are saying this to me and that you're thinking this, like, it proves you're not. So what she did to prove to him that he was not a murderer, was they had him get a knife. It was dull, but put it up to his wife's throat. And they were there, they were watching, they were supervising, and they were like, okay, do it, you know? You're a murderer, right? Okay, go ahead. And he couldn't do it because he's not a murderer. I figured out I had these issues a while ago, but I wouldn't say until like 2 years ago they were actually diagnosed for me. I'm not sure why it took so long. I think I didn't go to therapy until 3 years ago. So, and at that point I had been bouncing between different people because sadly how the healthcare system is here with therapy, you apply for therapy and it'll take up to 6 months to even get in to see a therapist, and they might not be covered by your insurance or all this stuff. So a lot of people in therapy aren't able to even go. So that's one of those issues. Like, I wasn't able to see somebody for a while, and right now I have left my current therapist because I wanted something a little bit more specialty-wise, like a psychiatrist and a therapist, and I've been on the waiting list for 6 months, maybe more. The way that they help with obsessive compulsive disorder, especially the compulsive thoughts, they do this thing that's called exposure therapy. So by exposing yourself to this or letting you have these thoughts and write them down, it helps you figure out that it's not real. So instead of getting prescriptions and medications, it's been a lot more hands-on because I prefer a mix between like Eastern and Western medicine, and as much as I do believe in medications, and I take some for my anxiety and depression and my insomnia, basically. But they didn't want to add so many medications to me because then I would just be dependent completely on a medication. I can't live my life. The way that I manage it's a journey. It's always been a journey. I would say most of it comes from the help of a support system. I would say the only exercises for obsessive compulsive thoughts that I've found out over the years was when you have one of those, you have to write it down. My obsessive compulsive thoughts, those kind of just stay there most of the time. I think there are just days where I convince myself to leave a little bit harder than other days. And usually when I have a ramp up and I freak out, maybe have a panic attack or something, then I'm good for like a while. I feel like it has subsided in a way because I have more awareness of it and I'm able to manage it. But now that I know what I have and I know that there are other people with the same issues as me that I've talked to before, and it helps me with my own self to just kind of be like, okay, you're normal. There are a few things off, but you're normal. The thing with mental health issues and all of these things is that A lot of people have them, but a lot of people don't know that they have them. So it's important, if you feel like you have these issues and such, that you should go talk to someone, even if you feel like you're crazy. It helps you out a lot in the long run, and it's helped me out in the long run as well.